When people face criminal charges, some think about defending themselves in court. But this is very risky. As Frank C. Walker, Twee explains in his book, Self-Representation is Having a Fool for a Client. Most people do not understand the complex laws or court rules. Without a lawyer, you may not know how to properly defend yourself. You might make mistakes that can hurt your case. For example, you might plead guilty without knowing the long-term effects on your record. Even minor offenses can lead to serious problems, like losing your driver's license or facing trouble when applying for jobs. Talking to police without a lawyer can cause you to say things that hurt you later. Frank Walker warns that only trained attorneys know how to protect your rights and explain the consequences of each decision. Trying to fight a criminal charge alone often leads to worse results. The law is complicated, and having an experienced lawyer increases your chances of a better outcome. So, representing yourself is usually the worst choice you can make. Always get legal help. Public defender role. Public defenders are lawyers provided by the government to represent people who cannot afford private attorneys. According to Frank C. Walker, Telu, public defenders are often very skilled and experienced because they handle many criminal cases daily. They know the law and courtroom procedures well. Many private lawyers actually start their careers as public defenders. However, public defenders usually have very heavy workloads and many clients. This means they may not be able to spend as much time on your case as a private attorney would. Sometimes, you might see a different public defender at each court hearing, which can make it hard to build a good relationship. Despite these challenges, public defenders work hard to defend their clients and often know how to negotiate with prosecutors effectively. They provide an important service to those who need legal help but cannot pay. If you qualify, a public defender can be a strong ally in your defense, but it is important to understand their time limitations and how that might affect your case. Private lawyer benefits. Hiring a private attorney offers many advantages over representing yourself or relying solely on a public defender. As Frank C. Walker, 7 explains in his book, a private lawyer can dedicate more time and resources to your case. They provide personalized attention, build a close attorney-client relationship, and are available when you need them. Even outside normal hours, you can call or meet with them to discuss your case in detail, which helps you feel more confident and informed. A private attorney will review all evidence, investigate further if needed, and develop strong defense strategies tailored specifically to your situation. They have specialized knowledge about the laws related to your charges and can explain the possible outcomes clearly, including the long-term effects of pleading guilty or going to trial. Unlike public defenders, private lawyers usually stay with you from start to finish, representing you consistently at every court stage. This continuity helps build trust and ensures your lawyer knows every detail of your case. They can also negotiate better plea deals and advocate strongly for reduced sentences or alternative programs. Frank Walker emphasizes that choosing a private lawyer means having someone who fights zealously for your rights and freedom. While private attorneys may cost more, the benefits often outweigh the expense, especially considering the serious consequences of criminal convictions. In short, hiring a private attorney greatly increases your chances of a positive outcome and helps protect your future. If you can afford it, it's usually the smartest decision you can make when facing criminal charges. Legal knowledge needed. Representing yourself in criminal court requires deep knowledge of the law, court rules, and procedures. Frank C. Walker, Sikkim points out that most people lack this expertise. The legal system is complicated, with many steps that must be followed carefully. If you miss deadlines or make errors in paperwork, your case can be harmed. Understanding how to build a defense, challenge evidence, or file motions takes years of training. Lawyers spend a long time studying laws and practicing in courts before they can represent clients effectively. Without this knowledge, you may not know how to protect your rights or argue your case. Even small mistakes can have big consequences, such as admitting evidence that should be excluded or failing to object to illegal questioning. Legal knowledge is also necessary to understand plea offers and sentencing guidelines, which affect your future. Frank Walker advises that only trained attorneys can navigate these complexities well. Trying to handle a criminal case alone often leads to poor results because of a lack of legal knowledge. For this reason, hiring a lawyer is critical for a fair defense. Consequences of mistakes. Making mistakes in criminal court can seriously damage your case. Frank C. Walker, Sue warns that people who represent themselves often do not understand the risks. For example, speaking too much to the police without a lawyer present can lead to self-incrimination. Anything you say can be used against you in court. Pleading guilty without understanding the long-term effects is another common mistake. Even minor offenses can stay on your record for years, affecting jobs, housing, and other opportunities. Some people think paying a fine will solve the problem, but it can lead to license suspensions or more serious penalties. Missing court dates or failing to follow court rules can result in worse outcomes, like higher bail or additional charges. Without a lawyer's guidance, it's easy to overlook important details or legal options that could help your case. Frank Walker stresses that these mistakes can have lasting impacts on your life. Hiring an experienced attorney helps prevent errors and protects your rights throughout the process. Avoid costly mistakes by trusting a professional to handle your defense. When is self-rep allowed? In criminal court, you do have the right to represent yourself, but it is rarely a good idea. Frank C. Walker, too, explains that while self-representation is legally allowed, it is only recommended in very limited situations. Most cases involve complex laws and procedures that are difficult for non-lawyers to manage. The court will usually warn you about the risks before allowing self-representation. Judges want you to understand that if you choose to proceed without a lawyer, you will be held to the same standards as an attorney. This means you must know how to file motions, examine witnesses, and follow courtroom rules. Self-representation is sometimes allowed in minor cases or summary offenses, but for serious charges like felonies, courts strongly encourage hiring an attorney. The stakes are high, and mistakes can lead to harsh penalties. Frank Walker emphasizes that even if you feel confident, the criminal justice system is designed to be challenging for those without legal training. It's best to have an experienced lawyer by your side to protect your rights and interests. Why hire an attorney? Hiring an attorney is the smartest choice when facing criminal charges. Frank C. Walker explains that lawyers are trained to protect your rights, guide you through the complicated legal system, and fight for the best possible outcome. They understand court rules, evidence, and strategies that most people don't know. An attorney can negotiate with prosecutors to reduce charges or penalties. They can also identify weaknesses in the case against you and use them to your advantage. Without a lawyer, you risk missing important deadlines or making mistakes that could harm your defense. Attorneys provide peace of mind by handling legal details so you can focus on your life. They help you understand your options, including the consequences of pleading guilty or going to trial. Frank Walker stresses that a lawyer's experience and knowledge greatly increase your chances of success. In short, hiring an attorney means you have a skilled advocate who will stand by your side, protect your rights, and work to keep your future safe. Don't risk it alone. Get professional help. Subscribe for more legal insights. Would you ever represent yourself in court? Don't miss our next video. What qualities should you look for in a good lawyer?